Hey, welcome to the course of Championship Training 101. So basically, today, actually, it was this morning, I was feeling overwhelmed pretty much, like in life in general. And I was just like, I'm never going to get things done. Like, I just feel like I'm always, spinning my wheels. And I was just like in that state. So it wasn't like, I wasn't in a good place this morning. But then I said a prayer. And all of a sudden, as I was walking, the greatest thoughts are conceived when walking. It was just like this inspiration started flowing to me, and I was thinking of championship training because I'm in I'm in championship training right now as well. Okay, so basically, if there's anybody out there that is striving to be a champion, which that is like, that's why we're here on this earth, is to be champions. We're not here to play small. Serving small in this world doesn't benefit our spirit. It's not our higher calling. Although, it doesn't mean like having a big production for everybody to see, to say, oh yeah, that's a champion. A champion is basically just like living out your life purpose, whatever it is. So like, if you're living out your life purpose, then you're a champion, and you have the self-confidence within yourself. And so it doesn't have to, everybody doesn't have to see it, but you like feel really proud of yourself. And that's the big, huge thing that matters. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this thing about it. Championship Training 101. So basically, I have it in 7 steps. First is divine order. Spirituality, perspective. So that's step 1. Step 2, forgiveness. Step 3, acceptance. Step 4, gratitude. Step 5, financial. Step 6, mastering the mundane. And 7, inspiration. Okay, so the first one, the reason why I said divine order, and spirituality is divine order, is because it puts things in perspectives and gives us like the correct lens in life so that we're not spinning our wheels and running in the same place. It's kind of like in the movie Labyrinth, where Jennifer Connelly, she just kept running straight ahead. She was trying to find a door. She just kept running straight ahead. And the more that she realized that she didn't seem like she was close to her destination, she kept running faster and faster and faster. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter how hard she worked. She was still in the same place. And so basically she had kind of like a breakdown. She fell on the ground and she was just like she started questioning like things like, well, what is going on? Like, where am I? Like, why can't I find the door? And she was just like, it's kind of like people in life in general. It's like what happens, like people have breakdowns kind of where, it's actually, though, it's a good thing, because what it does, it's like the universe is trying to, it feels like it's breaking us, but what it's doing is removing the unnecessary, the distractions, the muddle, the whirlwind or the hurricane that's going on in our head, and it gets us to inner reflect and look at the right perspective. So Jennifer Connelly, she was looking ahead at the wall, and because a worm had told her that, like, it was just like, things are not as what they seem. And so then all of a sudden, as she was looking ahead, she was looking in a different direction than she was before. All of a sudden a door appeared before her and she was able to walk through. So it's kind of like life, where sometimes it feels like the universe is playing a joke on us or something like that. But the only reason why we, people fall into the same thing over and over, like the same pattern, it has nothing to do with them not working hard enough. That has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the perspective, because if we're going through life with the wrong perspective and we're not living in the truth, and we're being guided by just like, we don't have the correct lens. It's kind of like, there could be like a tree stump. There could be things in our way, but if we don't see it, we're going to trip over it. We're going to keep tripping over and over and over and over. So that's where the focus is. Also, spirituality is like true spirituality. It's like, I look at it, true spirituality is like mastering the, physical reality, not denying the physical reality. So I strongly feel that there is a counterfeit spirituality where it's like promotes people to deny physical reality, which is actually dangerous. There's like some people that consider themselves gurus or whatever, that try to tell people, oh, like, yeah, you can learn how to breathe underwater. Yeah, like, if you work hard enough, you can fly. I mean, that's like cult-like stuff, and it's dangerous. And there is, unfortunately, a lot of weird shit like that on YouTube. But true spirituality is about mastering your physical. Whatever. So basically using your eyes to be observant. Now I understand, like, not all of us, or not, some people are maybe limited in certain areas of physical, but it's just like whatever you have, mastering that. Okay. So basically, if you have a mouth, you use it to speak kind words. You have eyes, you use it to be observant. You have ears to hear and to actually listen to what people say. You have hands that you labor with, that you help build up communities. You work on farms. You the hands, it's just basically like men by their fruit. If you don't see anybody have fruit and they're just a guru out there and they're just like, yeah, like I can teleport and I can do all this crap, that don't mean crap. And most of the time, 99% of those people are lying. Okay, anyway, that's a whole other subject. But yeah, like using your feet to walk, in the right direction in life. It's just like, it's mastering the physical. Learning breath work, though, I think that learning breath work is important because it keeps people, having like a steady mind. I mean, there's a lot of things you can learn about that. So anyway, that's the way I look at is true spirituality. Mastering the physical, not denying the physical. Number 2, forgiveness, not allowing the past to hold our future hostage. Of course, there's people that have hurt us. There's people that have said things that made us feel unworthy, have put us, have forgotten, has helped us forget like our true nature, like our authentic self. But the thing is, like, the reality, the truth is that those people are hurting. They're messed up. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, when we forgive people, we're not giving them the power of their script to play over and over. And but the cool thing about the divine order coming before the forgiveness, when we're seeking spirituality, it gets things in the perspective so that we have the ability to forgive people. So it takes a higher power to forgive people. It's hard to do it on our own because, when we're going by our own, perspective all the time and we're going by pride or whatever, it's very, very hard to forgive people. But all of a sudden, the cool thing about the spirituality is it may teach us things about that person so that we can forgive them, I mean, I'm not saying we need to be around if someone has hurt us and we continue to be around it, it should be an indicator to remove yourself because, that's not healthy. But at the same time, it's just forgiveness is everything, because what happens is, like, if we don't forgive people, then like we're seeking goals to prove that person wrong. So it's like a ghost, and it kind of like alters our life because it's kind of like on Top Gun where the guy, like, he was flying against a ghost. And so he was trying, but then like when he was flying against a ghost, he was like overzealous, putting other people in, everything else at risk or whatever like that. So basically, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on forgiving people. So the third one is acceptance, accepting where you're at in your life, being realistic, but loving yourself where you're at, and realizing that you're where you're at for a reason. And it's not like it just sucks. Like, it, depending on where you're at in your life, you could be living out your worst fear, but either way, like, if you just accept who you are as a divine person and just realize that, okay, if things are not where you want it to necessarily be, it's just a manifestation of your thoughts, but your thoughts are not who you are. So it's not your divine self. It's not your authentic higher self, but it's just your experience, and that's it. So learning how to separate the two and being kind and gentle with yourself, it's like you already are unlimited. You already are perfect in your form. But like whenever you see outside results, like, whatever would deem as a successful person, whatever you feel is, your path, it's like you're just waiting for time to catch up to you. And so your job, this is what your job is to be patient. But you're already there. So you're being patient for time to catch up to you to manifest that thought. But the only way that you can have patience is you have to learn how to accept yourself and your divine self and your unlimited self and remember who you are as a spirit. And that makes things a lot easier. All right. So the fourth one is gratitude. And the cool thing about that, and the reason acceptance is before gratitude, is because now you have time to breathe and you have time now to appreciate and realize then all the resources that you have around you. And then that's like the key right there, because then all of a sudden you realize like, I have all these tools around me, and it's just like you wake up and you realize that. Okay. So the fifth one is financial. So gratitude comes before financial. The cool thing about gratitude, I was saying, is like you recognize all the things that you already have. So then, financial, then when you're able to first, go through the gratitude and you realize, oh, I have this and I have this, I have this, and your whole frame of mind changes, then you're not going to be spending as much money. You're not going to be like a consumer, like an excessive consumer. But the financial is really important to study financial books and learn how to save money, because what happens is when you don't save money and you don't have something put away, whenever life happens, life is very unpredictable. You don't know. You can lose your job. There's other things. But if you have a savings, you're not going to be in a state of fear. If you're not in a state of fear, you're not going to be making like irresponsible decisions because you just need to pay your bills. Like you're just going to be calm, collective, and you're going to do something that's going to benefit your future. And you may look at you losing a job or something like that as a blessing. You say, oh, that's awesome because that wasn't my path anyway. But then you're going to have the financial means to be able to cover yourself for however long you need to. So the financial, like that's pretty much everything. But I'll talk more about that later. Okay, so the sixth one is mastering the mundane. So basically not focusing on results, because like whenever you're focused on results, it's like there's like that's a lot of pride behind it. Instead, enjoy the work. Like it's like Johnny Depp, for example. Like Johnny Depp's like one of my favorite actors and he's like an artist. He's very creative, but Johnny Depp, he doesn't watch his own videos. Like he doesn't even watch his own movies at all. Like what he does is he enjoys the process as the process is happening. And as soon as the movie, after the movie, like he doesn't even watch it. He's just like, oh, okay. But the thing is like when people, it's okay to enjoy like the results, but not focus on it. Like not have that be the ultimate goal or the ultimate, just enjoy the everyday successes. Because a lot of times, like, I don't know if you ever seen that movie Rudy, but like Rudy was able to enjoy the journey, besides having success be the destination. Like, I mean, of course, like he had his goal that he wanted to play for Notre Dame and he wanted to, be suited up and all these other things. But like he was able to enjoy the journey where he got the letter when he got accepted to Notre Dame, and so basically that's the happiness right there. You will always feel happiness, because a lot of successful people, when they actually reach their goals and they're just like, oh, okay. And they make another goal, but they're making a goal a lot of times because they're not like really, basking in it. So don't get so caught up in that. And a lot of times when people have, success be the aim, then it seems like it's always out of reach, so instead be the success. Learn how to, notice whenever you stick to something. So yeah, mastering the mundane. Also, I was thinking, it's really important to, okay, so I think a lot of people, they know how to commit to other people, because they don't want, sometimes they fear rejection, or they may do that out of fear. A lot of times people, they could be there for other people, they find it really important to make sure that they're building trust with another person and everything like that. But sometimes a lot of people forget how so important it is to build trust within yourself. And a lot of times people, because like if you value a friend, right? If you constantly like make promises and back out of everything that you say, then there's not going to be a lot of like good foundation within that friendship. So don't make goals that you're not going to keep at all. Don't set yourself up to do anything that you're not going to keep. So it's important to build confidence within yourself and make very small goals so that you can remember what it feels like to have small little successes during the day. But also make sure that whenever you make a goal, it's like within a span of 5 minutes. Just like, okay, I'm going to clean the cupboards. And then you clean the cupboards, but then you write it down. And then when you write it down, you're like, wow, and you feel accomplished. Even though it's a small thing, you still feel accomplished. And then you get your mind focusing on those little small things that you do every day that's successful. But then what happens is it becomes in your subconscious and you start to have another script in your brain. You're like, I'm successful. I'm successful. And then when you do that, and you find yourself as being a successful person, then all of a sudden success just keeps following you everywhere. And then like the dreams that you have and the things that you say you're going to do, it becomes bigger and bigger, but you feel like you can handle it. Versus somebody that can't even like, if they're like, they can't even say that, they can't even do their cupboards after they say they're going to clean out their cupboards, then how are they going to do something huge? So here's a scripture. By small and simple things are great things brought to pass. You look at somebody that's really successful in life, it has to do with probably with them just mastering those mundane things, keeping it simple, but realizing the power of their choice. So it's not about the big choices. It's kind of like to me, it kind of reminds me of like the turtle and the rabbit. I feel like we have an inner battle people within themselves, by being the rabbit in life, but then also they can be the turtle. So if they're the rabbit, it's like they overexert themselves. They run faster than they can even allow themselves to do that. And so they're not even realistic, like with their means around them. So basically, like if you're limited in areas, it's important to be realistic and not set really high goals if you can't attain it. Like me, I've always tried to say I'm going to be like 100% raw foodist. Well, I don't have a car and I've failed a lot of times, and I don't have the money always to be a raw foodist, because the food is a lot more expensive. So now I'm like realistic and say, okay, well, this is my situation right here now. I don't have a car. Less groceries is better, so I don't have to keep like, replenishing everything. And I don't have to keep going to the grocery store every day. So basically, like, I changed my way of eating, where it's like, it just works for me. So I was realistic. But then if I'm realistic, I'm going to be consistent. I'm not going to have as many failures, versus making like extreme goals. So the turtle is consistent, but it's slow. So we have to be okay with going at a slow pace, but just know that you will win the race. You run the race against yourself. Okay. And the seventh one, it is the ultimate. It ties in with all of them. It's inspiration. So a lot of times people, they get to where they want to be. It's kind of like David and Goliath. David, he wasn't like necessarily stronger than Goliath. He definitely wasn't taller than Goliath. I don't think he mastered Taekwondo or Aikido or anything like that. He just had a thought. His inspiration came, he acted upon it, and he was able to take down the giant. Pretty much, that's it. So it's inspiration. Now, inspiration ties into all these things. If you master all these things, which is divine order, the spirituality, forgiveness, acceptance, gratitude, financial, mastering the mundane, the inspiration, you're able to pay attention to the inspiration. And here's how. Okay, so basically, if you're doing your spiritual practices every day, like just 15 minutes a day, then you're able to hear and be in tune with inspiration when it comes. Number 2, if you forgive people, then you are allowing inspiration to come as well, because you're not focused on the anger, resentment, and all those distractions, those feelings that get in the way of inspiration. Number 3, acceptance. If you're not accepting where you're at, then you feel like a failure. You can fall into depression, anxiety, all those other things. When inspiration comes, which is kind of like a still small voice, then you're so distracted in those other feelings of feeling not worthy and other things like that, it just becomes too much, that when inspiration comes and it's something simple, you don't believe it. You're just like, no, whatever, it's not that simple, So gratitude. Gratitude, it allows room for you not to be seeking greed or overexerting yourself, pride, other things like that, where it interferes with your inspiration. Financial. Okay. So if you're not taking care of your finances and you don't have like a savings, some money in your savings account, what happens is if you lose your job and you're in a state of fear, you're not going to listen to inspiration if inspiration's coming, because you're going to just be in that fear mode. So fear, anxiety, confusion, all those other things, those are the complete opposite of inspiration. And if you're not mastering these other things, they produce those fears. They produce anxiety, all those other unsure feelings, which is the opposite. All right, so mastering the mundane is basically whenever you, I look at a farmer or like somebody working on a garden. It appears like, okay, it's just very mundane. It doesn't seem very extravagant or whatever like that. But whenever someone's working in the soil, they're in a sense of reality. It's very, it's just, when you do mundane things, that's when inspiration comes. Like if you're walking, inspiration comes. If you're cleaning, have you ever noticed, like when you're just organizing your house, all of a sudden, it's just like you start to have flow of information that's like something that you would have never thought of. And you're like, wow. Reading scripture is mundane, but at the same time, inspiration allows, it's able to come when you're doing those things to take care of yourself. So it's like you're making the initiative. It's like you're telling the universe, I'm here to succeed. And the universe is, able to deliver you, God. When I say universe, I really mean God, but, So anyway, that's pretty much it. So this is Championship Training 101, and I'll probably more elaborate on the different steps again and make videos of it to explain. And I would like to have movie clips of very inspirational, speeches or quotes or whatever like that. But anyway, y'all have a good day.